Hello everybody, this is David and Jane. We come from Calderdale in West Yorkshire, and David is a mesothelioma sufferer. He'll tell you a bit about his journey in a moment, but just to put it into context, David's really enthusiastic about golf. He plays as many times as he possibly can, even now with mesothelioma, although he has adapted with a buggy, and he really enjoys going out and getting the fresh air and being with his friends.
And having a drink afterwards.
So that's his major passion in life. And we've got 3 children and 5 grandchildren and 2 wonderful little great-grandchildren. So we're quite fortunate and very busy. David will tell you something about his journey with mesothelioma and just a quick potted history of how it started.
You want me to say now?
Yeah.
Right, well, it's about just over 2 years ago, I noticed when I was finishing my games of golf, the last couple of holes, I was getting a bit more tired and breathless and puffing and panting a bit. So at that time as well, I also got a small pain in my chest area. It was quite small, and I didn't think anything sinister about it, but the next time I had to see the GP, I just asked her to have a look at it, and she had a look at it and didn't feel that it was anything too sinister. She asked me a few questions about coughing and things like that, and she said, well, I think you've just either knocked it and not realised, or it's a bit of a strain. And so I went away quite confident everything was all right, and things would clear up, and I'd do a little bit more exercise, perhaps rejoin the gym and get a little bit of fitness back. Anyway, over the next 6 or 7 months, this small pain didn't seem to go away, although still had no other symptoms. And I must have, on 2 or 3 occasions, asked the GP to, just have another look at it and make sure nothing was going on. And she was quite convinced. She did a couple of tests, this breathing out and things like that. She said she seemed perfectly all right. Anyway, by June of 2018, she thought I ought to go and have an X-ray. So I went to the hospital, had the X-ray, and it came back showing some fluid. And they thought, well, in all probability, it's fluid from something like pneumonia. And although I had no cough or any other symptoms, they said that that was possible and probably what it was. So they put me on a course of antibiotics and rebooked a scan, rebooked an X-ray for 4 weeks later. The second X-ray came back and showed that the fluid had increased and not decreased. So it was decided that I should have a CT scan, or is it an MR scan?
No, you had a CT scan.
I had a CT scan. So I had the scan, and it came back showing some malignant cells. And then they started asking me questions about, when did you work with asbestos? Have you ever had any contact with asbestos? And asbestos. And I really didn't understand what was going on, because in my view, I'd never worked with asbestos in my life. So anyway, the next suggestion was that I should have a biopsy. So I was booked into Leeds Hospital and went in there and had the biopsy, and the result of that came back I think it was about 4 weeks later, wasn't it?
It took quite a while to
It
come
took quite
through.
a while to come back.
So it was finally November when we found out you got it
Yes, by November they'd
diagnosed.
they diagnosed that I'd got mesothelioma. And I thought to myself, well, what's mesothelioma? Never heard of it. Didn't know what it was. Certainly couldn't spell it.
Still can't spell it.
Still can't spell it. So we were sent to see an oncologist who sort of, well, it was a strange visit because it seemed that, well, you've got mesothelioma, it's incurable, we can't do anything about it, prognosis is 4 to 7 months, but you seem pretty fit and you're not showing other symptoms, so you may be very lucky and live for another 12 months, but enjoy what you can, and if things get too bad towards the end, we'll perhaps give you some chemotherapy to see if that helps. Didn't like the sound of that. That didn't go down very well at all. So Jane did a lot of research. She looked around, she went on the internet, she made a lot of phone calls, and she came up with a surgeon in Leicester who was one of the leading specialists in mesothelioma, and we booked an appointment and went to see him. And the outcome of that was that I was told about another route that I could follow, and that involved some surgery. At about this time as well, Jane found out that about Mesothelioma UK, who were there, and they help people in our situation, help us to understand what's going on, tell us what things we were entitled to and how to go about things. And they particularly suggested that we should get in touch with a good firm of lawyers to start to investigate to see if it could be identified where the mesothelioma had come from, where I'd contacted it, and if my employer at that time was culpable for my situation by not providing the care that I was entitled to at work. Anyway, the outcome of it all was that I was put in touch with a fellow who'd been through the same process as I was going through, and he'd opted for the surgery options, and Pete's name was Pete Ball, a fantastic fella, and he was very frank, told me all about it, tried to offer me no advice whatsoever other than, I can tell you what I went through, I know what it was like, I can tell you about it, I'll be honest with you, and you know, you make your decision yourself. So we did, and I did, and I went into Glenfield Hospital in Leicester and was operated on the 13th of December 2018. It's a big operation. It was a big step to take, but it was a way that I felt that I could fight back. That I wasn't going to go out of this world whimpering. I was going to fight for every last minute I could have. And I've never regretted it. Never once regretted it. It bought me time. It gave me time while The others were working away on their research, looking for new ways of treating the disease, and no regrets whatsoever.
Mesothelioma UK helped us with
They
the
did, yes.
blue badge and all of the paperwork, and
Yes.
Caroline, especially at Meso UK, was really, really good at guiding us through all that and doing most of the work for us. She was brilliant, wasn't she?
She was really good, yes.
Yeah.
We was very, very grateful for that help, because
We had no idea.
you have no idea, and when these things happen to you, you're in shock. It's new to you. You don't know what's going on, and it still took a lot of understanding. I couldn't understand how something like that had happened. Anyway,
But you had your operation in December, didn't you? And then you had nearly 12 months where you were stable.
well,
But
I think
then-
it was over 12 months, really, wasn't
Just
it?
over 12 months. And then it came back, but not where it had originally been. So saying it's come back is really the wrong thing, but it had grown into your pericardium then, hadn't it?
Yes,
And your surgeon, Mr. Nakas, and his wonderful team in Leicester got you straight back down there and sorted you out again, didn't they?
yes. A
And
bit more surgery, but
yeah.
again, well worth it, because the fluid that was being produced was causing pressure on my heart, and was making the breathlessness more pronounced, and that was affecting me. It actually affected my ability on the golf course as well, which is definitely not on.
So you had your operation then, didn't you?
Yes.
And then you were advised to try the chemotherapy route.
Yes,
So you tried chemotherapy, and it held back some aspects, but it didn't stop it spreading to your peritoneum. So now you're probably, I would think, one of the rare people who've got it in 3 places. You've got it in your pleural space, your thorax, in your pericardium area, and also in your peritoneum. But you've gone on now, haven't you? And you've got immunotherapy.
yes,
And a lot of the support that we've had to access all of these things has come from Karen Lord, our specialist mesothelioma UK nurse, who's been absolutely brilliant working with the medical team that she's got to help and support and advise us. And also we've been going to the Leicester support group, which is run by Mesothelioma UK, and it's really been smashing for us, hasn't it?
it has, yes.
We've met lots of people there who are in similar boats, but it's not in any way, shape or form, as David calls things, God's waiting room. It's much more upbeat, we have fun, we get information, we can consult if we're feeling that there are areas that we need to talk about, and all sorts of things. But basically it's just a good laugh, isn't it, with
Well, yeah,
like-minded people.
yes. Well,
And we've got lots of friends from
like
there.
suffering people, even.
And in return for all of this support that we've had from Meso UK, and in particular from Ward 26 at Leicester, who work very closely with Meso UK, we wanted to get involved in fundraising wherever we can. So we've tried to support fundraising activities. We were also planning a big day, weren't we, with a golf tournament,
Yes,
a swing for Meso evening with a swing band, and demonstrations in the afternoon and all sorts of things. But sadly we've had to postpone that because of the COVID-19. So we wish everybody well on their mesothelioma journey, and we hope that you're all having a positive one like we are. And we have to say that Meso UK have made it more bearable for us and have been really helpful in pointing us in the right direction. So we try to support them both practically and financially wherever we can.
Yes.
And I think it's something that you feel strongly that you want to consider for the future, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. They've been good to us.
They have. And so wherever we can, we want to support them and make sure that other people get the same experiences that we've had from them. So we'll be supporting Meso UK, and you might have to wait a little while until we pop our clogs, but hopefully, in years to come, you'll benefit from us leaving some legacy for the future research into mesothelioma and support of people with this condition.
Yeah.
So best of luck to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you once again, and special thanks to Caroline, Jill, Karen, Mr. Nakas, all the team at Ward 26, especially the thoracic nurses, Sarah, Joe and Hayley, and everybody else that we've come into contact with. We don't want to miss anybody out and really appreciate all the support we've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.